Good evening, everybody. Dave Walker at the end of a terrific Best2SMB conference this week. It was really fantastic, and I really do mean it when I say I have the best job on earth because I get to meet with this terrific panel of small business influencers that have been such incredibly willing volunteers to be judges in our Best2SMB awards, not only last year, but again this year. I don't know why we didn't turn them off completely last year in the process of doing it last year, but they actually all came back and judged again. So I'm going to go around the horn, introduce, give a couple of words about you, your business, what you do. Just because you've been so quiet so far, I'm going to pick on you, Brian Moran. You start out.
All right, what do you want me to say? I've been doing this a long time.
Well, I can already see in your answer that you're extremely influential. So tell us about really what you do, because you do some pretty cool stuff, man.
All right. So, I mean, we do two things. We help with Brian Moran and Associates and Small Business Edge. We help business owners run better businesses and marketers better target the SMB space. And I spent just under 25 years publishing magazines and newspapers for business owners. And I got to work with everybody in this group, especially Reva. She was my editor for a lot of that.
I've forgotten that history.
Mention our podcast, Brian. Podcast.
Oh yeah, we do a podcast. So Reva and I have the R&B show. We do a podcast together. Actually, I have 4 podcasts, and then I do one for Small Business Edge. We have a podcast, so all good.
Is the R&B show basically like a review of Motown hits, or what are you guys doing?
It's the smooth, soulful sounds of small business. The Reva and Brian show, R&B. There you go.
Well, then I got to dish it over to Reva. Reva, tell us what you really do with Brian.
So we do have a podcast, Brian and I. Brian and I have worked together for, I don't know, 30 years, 25 years?
Yeah,
like that.
30 years.
Yeah. I have a very long history in small business. I actually started in 1970, very end of 1978. For the last 12 and a half years, my own company, GrowBiz Media. Our website is smallbizdaily.com, and we give information to small business owners already in business, people who want to be in business, and we're content providers. We write content for other small business websites, for corporations who want to target the small business market and small business.
Oh, you broke up there a little bit.
Oh.
There she is.
You might have to sign back in again. We're breaking up, but I'm going to pass the talking stick over to Melinda. Melinda, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Emerson. I'm the Small Biz Lady, and my mission is to end small business failure. Through my company, Quintessence Group, I work with Fortune 500 companies that target the small business market, but I'm also a top small business educator. So my brand and my content, all the articles and things I write reach over 3 million entrepreneurs a week online. And so that's pretty much what I do.
I know. Could you do a quick flyby on this program that you're going to do with Babson College? Because you mentioned it the other night. I think it's incredibly cool.
Yeah, so Babson College is doing a program specifically for African-American women entrepreneurs. It is starting October 30th with a symposium, and I'm going to be one of their success coaches and lecturers for their program. So I'm really, really excited. So it's going to start in October, and we've got a cohort of 40 entrepreneurs, but we've got a monstrous waiting list too. So I'm really excited. I just got my MBA in June, so the ink is just dry on it. So now I'm legit to teach at universities. So I'm very excited.
Hey.
Very excited.
We love MBAs. That's great. All right, over to you, Pamela Slim.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela Slim, and I'm the co-founder of the Main Street Learning Lab right here behind me, which is, as the name states, right here in the middle of Main Street in Mesa, Arizona. My husband and I here in non-COVID times incubate all kinds of fun activities, especially for entrepreneurs of color. Black women, the fastest growing demographic, as Melinda knows, of business owners out there, which is a big part of our community. Native American entrepreneurs, Latinx entrepreneurs, Asian American entrepreneurs. But I also work with brands. So people like GoDaddy and Keep and LogMeIn, usually creating content to help people get more customers. And I'm just in the middle of writing my third book, The Widest Net, about how people can really unleash a flood of new customers. So that's been really exciting too.
They're book writers, that's for sure. Ivana, introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, Ivana Taylor here. I am the founder and publisher of DIYmarketers.com, where we help small business owners do more marketing for less money, or less marketing, make more money. We do that. So we offer tons of low-cost marketing advice. We love to recommend all kinds of amazing tools to make your small business look big. And like everyone here, we also provide tons of helpful content to brands who want to reach out and build those relationships with small business owners. I'm also the host of the very popular Bizapalooza Chat, which runs Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's where I'll be headed.
Awesome.
After this.
And rounding it out, Mr. Ramon Ray. And Ramon, you are the personal branding expert in the group, and I think you have some work here to do. In this group. Ramon,
great
introduce
to be here. Thank you for having me here, David. It's great to learn from all these amazing people. I've had the honor to hang out with Brian for many, many years and learn from him and be at his events back in the day before I knew there were such things as events. I've read Reva's content for many, many years and learned from her. Melinda, been to her events in Philadelphia area. Can't wait to go back again and learn from her. Pamela Slim, learned tons from her. I remember when I got her first book, I was like, oh my God, can you sign it? And even a Taylor learned how to do more things with less money. So I'm honored to be here. Smart Hustle Media. We inspire and educate small business owners to grow and work with large brands to help provide them authenticity and credibility for their brand. And great to be here. And it's been a long day, but always fun, Dave, hanging out with you. So thanks for having us.
Appreciate it, man. And you are our MC for when we get finally to actually making our award announcements for our different Best SMB awards. Thank you again. You brought down the house last year live. I don't know how you can reproduce that in a virtual setting, but I know you're going to give it a really good try.
It's a challenge, Ramon.
He does it every time.
We'll hype him up. We'll hype him up. Don't worry.
Absolutely. So we at the Institute, we solicited our 35 member leaders league back in the summertime to consider 4 different categories, 3 of which we had last year, but a new one this year, to kind of identify those brands that they admired most and thought fit best as nominees in the categories that we had laid out. And they sent us back, they did a Google survey, and it came back with lots and lots and lots, as you can imagine, of nominations. And we kind of shook it out and got the top 6 in each of the categories, and then a total of 9 nominee inductees into our Best SMB Hall of Fame. But what we wanted to do with you guys is just as judges is kind of go around in each category and talk about the finalists and, just opine a little bit about why we think they were so darn good this year at some of the things that they did. Because I know that many of you guys really were instrumental in really evaluating them as judges in what we were trying to really ultimately get to. So the first category that we went after, which was similar to last year, in fact, was won by Alignable last year, was the product and service offering of the year. And and I'll say this kind of as the elephant in the room, and anybody can jump in here to kind of either confirm or disagree or add on. I think that judging every one of our categories, and I think it was even a factor in the nominations. If you weren't thinking about the year of 2020 and COVID and social injustice and unrest and the economy, you weren't paying attention. And I think that really came out in who got nominated and who ultimately, it was a factor in how we all kind of judged the winners. Does everybody kind of agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean,
Absolutely.
it was about who stepped up to help. I mean, it wasn't even so much about their products and services as much as, the discounts people gave or I mean, I think it was critical because, I mean, small businesses got punched in the mouth this year. I mean, it was rough. So anybody that was about helping and that stepped up first to help, I think that had to be acknowledged and awarded.
And I think it's, one of the things that I'm always going on and on about is that marketing is not a doing function, it's a being function.
Mm-hmm.
It's a question of who you are being. And I think that what was top of mind for me is to spin off of what Melinda was saying. It's not about what you said in your marketing. It was about what you did and how you did it and who you were in the process. So
Mm-hmm.
that was something that I was really looking for.
Yeah, and that was evident across all 4 categories, right? That had to be a factor.
Yeah, I think one of the things that it showed, which is not always evident, is that these big companies acted very entrepreneurially. They were flexible. They reacted to the times where normally a big company could see that and go, "Oh, it'll go away. You know, we're not going to worry about it." But they all were very cognizant of there's something going on here, and we need to step up to the plate and provide information and help to these small businesses. And I think that was very impressive.
And again, that played out in the Product of the Year nominees. So the 3 finalists were ShipStation and Lendio and Shopify. So I'll just throw a jump ball here. Anybody can grab the talking stick and talk about any of those 3 brands, and more particularly the products and services, what they did with those products and services, and the call they answered this year. Anyone pick anyone and talk about it.
I'll say something. Shopify, I think, really stood out because in the world of I just got to notice that my connection is unstable. Is it okay?
We can hear you. You were a little bit, your video's a little flaky, but we'll live with that.
Mm.
Okay, so one of the big things in the I was going to say aftermath, but we're still living it, of this pandemic is retail, right? Local retail has been devastated, just completely devastated in some areas because the places closed, they open some, they open all. It's just been back and so all retailers who, if you didn't have a website, you were in trouble. And so the things that all of us have been preaching for years to retailers is get an e-commerce site. You've got to sell online as well. And Shopify just makes the process of having your store and an e-commerce store really easy. And I think that was really helpful, not only this year, but it's going to be helpful going into next year because I think we're still going to be dealing with it. And if you listen to what they're saying about increased number of cases breaking out all over the country, we could be shut down again in a month. And that's Christmas shopping season, right? So if you don't have a really strong e-commerce site, you're going to just lose a ton of money.
Right, exactly. And they really, in a very genuine way, helped a lot of those small business migrate into e-commerce because they knew they were terrified, right? They were just kind of like, oh my God, I've never done this before. And they really held their hands on that. Pam, you had something to offer.
Yeah, I think for Lendio, being right here in the middle of Main Street, I saw it like up close and personal with friends that had coffee shops and restaurants and everything else there. The financial panic and the chaos that ensued with our traditional banking institutions when it had to do with specifically getting, EID, PPP, support was so overwhelming. And I feel like they really did such a great job of simplifying, of, helping people to just have a central point in which they had the information and the process to get things done. I think a lot of the independent financial products did such a great job that way, because I was just hearing everything flying around, and as well as with my global audience of small business owners, people were so overwhelmed. And of course, the financial piece was the biggest piece of people being worried about being able to maintain their, their homes, their businesses, and so forth. So I really appreciate that quick response, organized information, vetting through complicated government regulations in terms of how the funds got out, and then just getting the funds in the hands of business owners. That is the thing that has saved so many folks down here on Main Street in Mesa.
Do you know they did 100,000 PPP loans in 12 days?
That's amazing.
I mean, if that's not a demonstration of product of the
Yeah.
year or service of the year, I don't know what is. I don't know anybody who cranks out paperwork in that kind of volume, but
And I
there.
think a demonstration of trust as well, I think, because again, I don't know the details. I'm sure others here are much better than me on the financial details, but I'm guessing that whereas a traditional bank may be slower, worrying about credit risk or money and all that, seems like they had the engine better, maybe to match better, and they could just push it through faster, I think. So that could be an aspect of trust as well, or the engine to more quickly ascertain who is who.
Yeah, no question. They have the engine. I really didn't learn until really getting to know Brock Blake, their founder and CEO, that because I always thought they were kind of in the same league as a Cabbage or a Funbox as a lender, but they're really not. They're a platform and a marketplace for lenders. So that meant that they were doing a lot of the preparation and wrangling for 100,000 small businesses to get them PP loan acceptance ready, and really, frankly, avoiding the big commercial banks and really going out to a more independent lending network. So they were able to be more responsive to small businesses and diverse small businesses, and it just really terrific work. So does anybody have anything to add about ShipStation? I don't want to give.
I was just gonna jump in about
Yep.
ShipStation. I was really impressed. Actually, I probably should have gone after Riva with that, right? Because, talking about Shopify and helping small businesses, set up these websites and such, ShipStation really, they talked about just having this huge influx. I think the guy had described it as Cyber Monday every Monday. And I thought, that really takes something to, and I think that there's a distinction that really stood out for me, which was how they treated the newbies, right? So here, like Riva talked about, here are these people who had never contemplated doing e-commerce, who had, a brick and mortar retail or whatever their business was, and their ability to patiently, kindly help these people and not make them feel, and we all know from the research that small business owners are constantly made to feel less than somehow.
Right.
And I really appreciated the fact that at least that's what came through for me, that they really treated every small business owner as an important entity.
Yep. Well,
I also want to co-sign for ShipStation too. I mean, they really did a great job. They really created tools to make it very like step 1, step 2, step 3. I mean, they did everything they could for the person who never ever sold anything. Like whether you're trying to sell on eBay or whether you're trying to sell on your own website, they didn't care. They were like agnostic to whatever platform you wanted to use. You need to ship something, here's how you do it. And I really appreciated them a lot for what they did, because I mean, they have been a great resource for years for e-commerce folks, but I think they went above and beyond to welcome more people in, and they did a really good job, almost of onboarding people to their service, and I thought that was terrific.
So the next category, those were all great recaps. And by the way,
somebody else was trying to speak, Dave. Somebody else was trying to make a comment.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I was just going to interject that there's the common thread with all three finalists is that when COVID hit, we all fell into these uncharted waters, and a lot of people panicked. A lot of big businesses panicked. A lot of small businesses panicked. But the three finalists, what they demonstrated was that they didn't panic, that they said, okay, what do we need to do in order to help you pivot your business? And that's the common thread, whether it's Lendio, ShipStation, or Shopify, right? That, okay, you're not used to e-commerce, let us show you how to do it. Let us show you how to ship. Oh, you need to get PPP or EIDL? Let us make this as turnkey as possible. Because you knew that if you went directly to the banks, and we all had it, right? I think a number of us had experiences where if you went directly to the bank, it was a lot harder than you anticipated. They expected you to have things ready and teed up. And so kudos to all three of them, that they recognized the situation, and they pivoted their business to help small business owners get through the pandemic, as up to today.
And that actually is a better segue than I would have given to the next category, which was far better segue, which was we talked about the category that we had last year was innovation, and we all kind of talked around it. And even at the Leaders League, the nominating committee said, you know, the honest truth is that this is not the year to talk about innovation. This is actually the year to talk about responsiveness and assistance that we offer small business. And boy, did that make a whole lot of sense to everybody. The moment that was a snowball that gathered steam really quickly. So we actually, for this year and maybe for every year, we launched a category called Small Business Assistance or Crisis Response. And we had 6 incredible nominees. And I will tell you, as the guy who, you know, was tabulating all of your ballots as they came in, we had 6 winners. There's no question. And how could you really, you know, frankly, even compare them, because they all did such incredible, extraordinary things at enormous scale to help small businesses around the country. And it wasn't just those 6 by any means. There were, frankly, probably a good dozen more that could have just as easily been finalists in the category. So we had kind of an unenviable job of whittling it down to 3 and ultimately picking a winner. But I want to talk about each of those nominees, because I think that, and the programs, because I think that, and maybe just one of you can take the program and kind of, you know, run it out so we can keep going here. But the first nominee was kind of, frankly, an obvious nominee because they've been doing it for so long, and that was American Express. And the twist that they put on their Shop Small and Small Business Saturday program to really, frankly, you know, get behind what was needed by small business, and then to leverage their huge partner network to really bring to force multiply what they were doing like crazy. Does anybody want to talk about that particular program and why it was so exemplary? Nobody?
I think we're not saying nobody. It's because it's so breadth, it's so large, it's so all encompassing. I think that's the challenge, but I think kudos to them for sure.
And I think that it's something that we can kind of all go to school on, right? I mean, we can all really think about how big can an assistance program be? It doesn't stop at a grant. It doesn't stop at a time period. It doesn't stop at just what I offer. It can go out for a long period of time, a huge network of participants, be incredibly ambitious at scale, and actually accomplish a lot. But I know that someone can talk about Cabbage, and I know someone can talk about how Cabbage really hit it literally on what I would describe as the first Saturday of the pandemic, you know, that last week of February, first week of March, with their helpsmallbusiness.com. Anybody want to talk about that one?
I think I put them on my list for sure. I've worked with them in the past. And one of the things that, as soon as this thing hit, the conversation in my local town, in my local business, was businesses like salons, you know, nail salons, restaurants, and that were completely not prepared. They needed cash. They needed cash now, and they had no system in place. Like, I wanted to like pre-purchase services, for example, and that helps small business. You just go to the Cabbage website and you could buy a gift certificate for, you could buy somehow this like gift certificate, services, whatever. And it was like right there. It was super easy. So that really filled that gap for those small businesses. And like you said, very fast, very speedy. I appreciated that.
It was very cool. Anybody else to add on Cabbage? So let's talk about
they were bought by American Express.
They were bought by American Express earlier this week.
I know.
Yeah,
so
right.
This is the last we can actually give them a
This will be the
super twofer
if they did it.
Yeah.
Damn it, we'll have to make actually 2 awards.
Yeah.
So the last nominee in this category was Zoho. And there's a lot of love for Zoho around this panel. So who wants to take that one to really talk about them?
I was going to talk about a few of them in the next one in the category of brand of the year. So I'll let somebody else talk about it for this category.
Okay.
Well, I remember just in the generosity of immediately saying, hey, tell your customers, tell your clients that they can use this, use our products for free. And they were really active in getting communication out to those of us in the network, knowing that we were connected with a lot of people. And it did have that feeling of like a neighbor who was concerned, do you have enough food? Here's some soup. Can I pick up groceries for you? In that kind of spirit, I think, within this category. So I appreciate that. Not to mention that Melinda and I had a great dinner at our last live gathering with somebody from Zoho. So I thought we have a little special fondness.
We are Zoholics. No, I'm a big fan of Zoho, and they have great products, and they've had great products for a long time. But certainly they opened up their welcome mat and they said anyone who will, you can come use our stuff. And I just really think that I think a lot of other brands eventually got on that bandwagon, but they were one of the first ones to wave their flag and say we're making everything free. And I think that went a long way to help people, because I talked to small business owners who didn't know how they were going to pay their hosting for their website, let alone for their accounting software. So I think that what Zoho did was a big help to small business.
They created a suite of service, right? Apps, Zoho remotely. And the speed at which they created this, they said they got the idea on a Monday, they fleshed it out on a Tuesday, and by Friday it was up and running. It was something, it was truly incredible. And then they said, oh, and this was, I think, in March, they said, oh, we're going to make this available for free until July 31st. Right. And it was a suite of, I don't know, a couple of dozen of their apps.
Yeah.
And they just continue to do it. And that really comes from their CEO on down. I mean, it's really an admirable company. And I had the good fortune to attend one of their events earlier this year. And I was just amazed at how the corporate culture there is phenomenal. They really do stress customer first. You feel like, I think they have something like 50 million users of their product. You feel like they know each user intimately, and that each user's success is like, that's their success. If their customers win, then they win. And as Melinda pointed out, they got on right away when they saw the how bad the pandemic was going to be. I mean, I feel like at some point I was saying, wow, I feel like they're really going overboard here. And then you realize, no, they're not, but their response was incredible. And then they extended certain programs. They really are, you feel like, and at a global entity, they really stepped up and showed the support for small business that makes them the kind of company you would love to do business with.
And they keep going. Sorry, I had to change location. I'm
no
in the dark, I see, but I'm closer to my Wi-Fi. I think they keep going. The one thing they've kind of promised is, when we see a problem, we're just going to keep putting things out there for small business owners to use and take advantage of. So I think that's really impressive as well.
And that builds a bridge. I mean, Ramon, you might as well talk about Zoho in the context of brand of the year as we kind of talk about the brand of the year nominees, because they were nominated for brand of the year as well.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to do that, because ironically, in this particular funnel brand of the year, I've worked with all three of these brands this year. Some of my clients now, some have been, but the point being, so I won't repeat what Brian said, except to say that Zoho, it's amazing you compare Zoho and Salesforce, two semi-arch rivals. They do different things, but it's just the DNA of the companies, two different ways. And I'd be curious to maybe other people disagree with me, and not bad. It's just two different ways that they think, how they operate. Sridhar, Ramon, we can do it this way. We just want to give. He's like a part philosopher and economist. And you just learn, you're like, wow. You have Benioff, or the head of Salesforce Essentials, name escapes me right now, but several people in there, Rosecrans, I believe it is, they have a whole different way they do things. So I think it's interesting when you look at these brands. And that's why as I'm looking at this brand of the year, I think think Zoho, well-deserved. We'll see who wins tonight. I think Salesforce, well-deserved. You know, when you go to Dreamforce, they have a whole section just dedicated to small business, giving away socks and all kind of things, coffee, get your photo taken. So that's more metaphorical. And then you have, I think the other brand here is Verizon. And again, another company that different how they do it, as many of us have sat in the behind the scenes, right? As they're figuring out how do we serve small business, but yet we do got to make a buck, as all the companies do. So I think Verizon, well kudoed in this, you know, one of the global leaders of telecommunications and more. So that's all I wanted to add, is that I think seeing all three brands there, whoever wins, I think would be well deserved, but interesting how they all take different approaches to serving small business. So.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the other things that was really, I think, very consistent, and I'm an old branding guy, so I think about brand in the context of what's it going to do for marketing and sales. And for every single one of these brand of the year nominees, they put the help first approach front and center. They led with that as the brand kind of went into the background and the help came forward. And they had the presence of mind, frankly, or the good sense to realize that the help was going to become their brand. And that was really, I think, why they stood out to me as really being the ones who most exemplified the help that was offered this year. Anybody want to add anything on either Verizon or Salesforce in their nomination for brand of the year?
I certainly want to talk about Verizon for a minute. You know, when I looked at, similar to Zoho, Verizon was one of the first companies to get out there saying, hey, we're going to help. The first thing I saw that Verizon did was created their own fund, their own actual grant program for business owners. That was the first thing I saw. Then they followed that up with that amazing weekly webinar series. I mean, I think a lot of us participated in as subject matter experts, but I mean, they really went all in. I mean, they used to do their webinar program, I think, once a month, and then they went from doing it once a week. And I think they're still doing it. I think they're going all the way down to, I think, October 28th, I think is their last one. And so since I think, I don't know, Ramon, was it April or May? They've been doing them every week since then, but it's extraordinary the level of content and quality of content they have been giving away free every single week just to help. And I've not heard one person talk about a Verizon product on any of those webinars. They are just trying to give help. And I think that has to be acknowledged. But I mean, the grant fund, I was really amazed. And then they came back again and gave money to LISC to fund some more grants after their grant program. So I can't say enough about what I've seen them do, and I've been extraordinarily impressed.
And Melinda, to your point about the giving away, Verizon and the other brands as well, all these brands are so amazing. It's easy, as I think you all may agree with me, to say, whatever, buy this phone or buy this software package, $10 off, once you spend $100. Come on, you do that anytime. So to your point, Melinda, being able to, and all of us have been kind of behind the rooms to say, no, don't talk about product. No, don't hold up the coupon. Don't demo the phone. Just give content. That's, right. A little bit something that, CRM or whatever they'll do it, but that takes a bit of boldness.
I think the interesting thing about Verizon also is because they're the company that everybody knows who their competitors are, right? You may have to think about who competes with Zoho, but it's the phone company, right? So we all know who their competitors are, and Verizon was so omnipresent, it kind of made it like, wait, where are the rest of you? Like, I don't know if they had programs. I'm a Verizon customer, so I don't know. But my husband's with one of the other companies, and it's like, okay, are you doing anything? Is there something there? And maybe there was, and I missed it. But I think that Verizon's sort of flood the zone efforts really, really made them stand out.
Yeah. And at the end, fairness to the other ones, because everybody is great. But I did, when we did our panel last time on inclusion, right, knowing we had this intersectional piece that was happening with Black Lives Matter, Mark from Verizon, stood up as a white man being on a panel talking about diversity and inclusion. And I think for a lot of folks at that time, it felt scary. It felt vulnerable as a big brand to do it. And so for me, I thought, good on you for not only stepping up, but also directly addressing something so critical to so many customers and just to the country as a whole. I really appreciated that.
Well, the great part is virtually every one of these nominees, we've had the opportunity to do vodcasts with, and they're available in our library at the Institute. Strongly encourage everybody to listen to them, because you really do hear, whether it's Raju Vegasna from Zoho, or whether it's Brock Blake from Lendio, or whether it's Marie Rosecrans from Salesforce. They really do. They reveal their playbook. You know, they're not like Bill Belichick. They're not sitting there kind of clutching it to their chest and saying, I'm never going to tell anybody how I do what I do. They are very forthcoming in saying, and talking about the struggles, talking about the challenges, talking about the processes, talking about the people, all of those things. And it's really, really informative. And I think more than anything, lends courage to virtue for everyone in our community of how we can, you know, frankly, lean into helping small business this next
Dave, if I could add real quick too, you mentioned Marie Rosecrans from Salesforce. I remember talking to her and some of her colleagues, and I said, so who's your target? She said, you know, for their CRM solution. And she said, and this is, you know, in the pandemic, and she said, you know, at this point, we're really interested in talking to the non-traditional CRM user. And she said, you know, the type of business that doesn't realize that they need us. And I laughed and I said, well, isn't that a lot more work? You know, because you've got to get your attention, you know, you got to get their attention, you got to tell them why. And it seems like it's a lot more of a sales job or an education job. And she said, yeah, but they will benefit the most right now. You know, they are the ones who need our help the most right now. And so we'd like to spend time talking to them. And I thought, wow, that's, you know, that's the sort of education that I guess everybody's been alluding to. And, you know, with Verizon and with Zoho, I think that's really what has separated the, let's say, the winners and the finalists from everybody else. Is that it's all been about education, telling people it's almost like we're going to make this investment into the category, why these products are important for you and how they can help you in the business, you know, regardless of which one you choose. I saw that, and I was really proud of the fact that
there was a lot to be impressed with, to say
absolutely, absolutely
on that. So this has been terrific, guys. Exactly what I hoped it would be. But I want to make sure that we get to our actual awards, because I'm sure we've got some people who are looking in, whether it's Facebook Live or through YouTube or through the Whova event platform, who are all kind of like, okay, did I win? Who won, for crying out loud? So let's get to that. I'm going to share my screen and hopefully not botch this up.
You need a drum roll, Dave? What do you want us to do?
Well, I'm going to hand it over to the human drum roll here, who can hopefully drive us through this. So let me do a quick screen share here, and that would be my screen. And let's go to our awards presentation and go into our presentation view, please. And there we go. Shazam. Amazing. So can everybody see it?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So Ramon, we're building you up a lot here, and it's really quite unfair, but I will let you riff with this however you would like. And when you say, may we have the winner, please, I will advance the screen and we will reveal the winner.
All
so
right,
however you would like to do this.
Dave, thank you for entrusting this to me. And it is much different than we were just many, many months ago, last year, I think it was, in person. But hey, we roll and do what we can do. And I'm honored and delighted to be here with my peers, Brian Moran, Small Business Edge, Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady, Eva Taylor, DIY Marketers, Pamela Slim may still be here. My screen looks a bit different. And Riva Lasansky. So I am so honored to be here and share this moment with my peers. Let me just move my screen a bit, Dave. Thank you for your patience, because I want to make sure if I can see everybody, maybe. Oh, that's right. Got to scroll down. Okay, good. So they're all here. Good. Pamela, Riva, and everybody. Good. So welcome to the B2SMB Institute Best2SMB Awards as we begin the night. And so here in the categories who've been nominated are Ship Station. Can I get a for Ship Station?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Lendio.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Shopify. And those who weren't here, maybe Dave will give the recording, but those who weren't here before, we've all given some nuggets to the various brands here. ShipStation, what a brand who could win. And I don't know who's winning. So I feel like Steve Harvey on A Family Feud. I don't think he knows the answer. So ShipStation, congratulations to you for what you've done in helping small businesses with e-commerce shipping. Lendio, thanks for providing what I'm assuming is gazillions of dollars to help small businesses find money, PPP, EDL, and all those kind of things. And Shopify, thanks for being a leader of e-commerce and helping small businesses to sell online. So with that, David Walker, who's the man behind the scenes, the man who's in charge of B2SMB, let us see, is it Shopify? Is it ShipStation?
That's when you have two winners.
ShipStation, is it Lendio or Shopify? And on the count of one, we will reveal the winner. 3, 2, 1. Who is it, David?
Oh, crap.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up.
Hang on. Don't worry
about it. Don't worry about it.
Here we go.
It's Shopify.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Bravo, Shopify.
Indeed, congratulations to Shopify for being the B2SMBI Best2SMB Product and Services Award. Congratulations to Shopify and the nominees, of course, but Shopify, well deserved. And we're glad that we get to hang out with me and 7 of my friends to celebrate with you. Thank you. So, Dave, let's see the next category. The next category is Smb Assistance. These are names here that nobody here does not know. Everybody knows. Brian, especially in the last segment, he talked about Zoho. We all kind of chimed in on that. And we know the work that Cabbage has done. We know the work that American Express has done. And of course, today I think it's Amex Cab. But the work that American Express has done, the work that Cabbage has done, Zoho, these are leaders who've provided SMB small business assistance. Zoho said, you know what? I think, Melinda, you said that, right? I think, use our products. Cabbage, what engineering they had to do to put together programs to help small businesses. You have American Express, which is for years has led in helping small businesses, and they've innovated and continue to evolve. So again, 3 nominees. Well, we all put our hands up a minute. We'll get ready. The anticipation: American Express, Cabbage, Zoho, David Walker. You got to put your hands down because we want to know who is the winner, David. Cabbage. Cabbage is the winner.
Cabbage, Catherine Pertalia, Paul Bernardini, Pete Steger, Laura Goldberg, all good friends. Congratulations. This helpsmallbusiness.com program, which the CEO of Cabbage acquired literally on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m., acquired that domain so that they could stand up the program, helpsmallbusiness.com. What an incredible inspiration and effort you guys put behind helping small business this year.
Absolutely. Well deserved. So David Walker, what is the next category? Cabbage, again, congratulations. So brand of the year. This is a big category, right, Melinda, right, Ivana, right, Brian and Pamela and Riva.
Yeah.
This is a huge category. We have Verizon, we have Zoho, we have Salesforce. We've talked about how Salesforce for years has helped small businesses. They are the Dreamforce, carving out a substantial space at Dreamforce. I've been there many times for sales, for small business at Dreamforce. We have Zoho, who's been a leader working with, I know Brian and Riva and many others here, leading the charge. And I think it was what Melinda and Ivana were saying, they had dinner or lunch or some combination thereof. Oh, Pamela and Melinda, I think it was. So Zoho has been around for many years, really leading with small business. I remember Sridhar and Raju, just them, when they beat a hotel with their beat up laptops, as it were, showing a new version of Zoho years ago. So, and then Verizon, really a leader in small business, doing everything they can to just give. I think Melinda again said that, I think as well, that it's easy to tie it to product, but it's one thing just to give and help small business. So David, I'm so excited to be here, and let us see, we'll do a whoop as we get ready to announce and see who will be the B2SMBI Best2SMB Brand of the Year Award winner is...
And this was an extremely close race.
Congratulations. David, want to say a few words? We'll do that each. Go ahead.
I think that we talked about Verizon and how they led with kind of the help first approach with their brand all year long. They kind of embodied, their people became their brand, and the way in which they approach their customers became their brand, which is really honestly the way it should always be. But they just lived it this year in a year of crisis.
They have done that for decades.
Yep.
They have stood up for small business for decades. I'm really pleased for them. Yay, Verizon.
Terrific stuff.
Yeah.
All right. And then
Good job.
we didn't really kind of riff on these guys too much, but in the Hall of Fame category to join last year's winners, which were Dell, American Express, and QuickBooks. So in the prestigious Best2SMB, B2SMB Hall of Fame, we have these. Ramon, over to you.
Sure. And David, just tell us now, David, we're going to have another screen which is going to show one inducted, or all these are the winners. Just clarify that for us.
The 3 that will be inducted. So
Three.
3 of these 6 will be inducted.
Great. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a huge thing, I think, because I think the Hall of Fame, if I'm right, even and Melinda and Brian and Pamela and Reva, is that this is kind of the big dogs, those who've consistently year after year, decade after decade, as it were, have served small business. So we've talked about Zoho, but again, Zoho, well-deserved to be a nominee here. We've talked about Verizon, again, well-deserved new, which we haven't mentioned tonight. PayPal, long-time leader in that e-commerce. I remember, when you pay somebody or need it, PayPal's like, boom, there. So, I see even as nod of understanding on that. Constant Contact, many of us know Constant Contact. How many here knew Constant Contact like back in the day when they were, all of us. So Constant Contact, well-deserved leader in the small business space. GoDaddy's interesting, Brian, to see how they've morphed, not just being a web hosting, but I think they do kind of soup to nuts and more. Am I right, Brian?
The suite of services.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have Google as well, which we know has just taken off more than a search engine, even in your DIY marketer, but really has been that leader of kind of a suite of marketing for small business beyond just local. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So with that,
all great brands.
Great brands, and all of whom really were pre-2000 starts. I mean, these guys have been doing it for a long
time.
And managed to maintain and grow and continuously have the trust of small businesses.
That's right. So with that, again, we'll see is it Zoho, Verizon, PayPal, Google, GoDaddy, Constant Contact. And again, big props to David Walker and his team for putting this whole thing together. We roll as we can. Drum roll.
This is the big one.
Who is the winner? Well deserved. Constant Contact, GoDaddy, and Zoho. Welcome to the B2SMB Hall of Fame. Melinda will be picking you up, GoDaddy, in her car. Brian will pick you up, Zoho, in his car. And Reva will be picking you up, Constant Contact, in her car.
We're sending the jet. We're sending the jet.
I get GoDaddy because they're right in my backyard. So I'm so proud. They're one of our biggest Arizona employers. We're so proud to have them in our space. So a special excitement for our local GoDaddy.
Indeed. Mike, you're welcome. And David, Mike is from which brand, David?
Mike Red.
Constant Contact.
Constant Contact. Is Mike here?
Very nice.
Yeah, he's here. He just sent us a note saying thank you.
Yeah,
so he's watching.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, well,
You're welcome.
Well deserved.
David, I'm going to hand this back to you. It's been an honor to host you.
How did we let you in?
Where is he? He's here somewhere.
He's there. We
He's
just
in
can't
the
see him.
camera view. But David,
Well,
I just
listen,
want to
guys,
say
this has been absolutely terrific.
But David, I just want to say congratulations to you, David, and the B2SMB Institute. I'm sure on behalf of my colleagues, Melinda Emerson, Brian Moran, Reva Lasansky, Ivana Taylor, and Pamela, take a short bow, David. Do something with your body. There we go.
And we'll give you the fast hands.
Yeah, we'll
give you a little bit of time there.
Put that together. Go ahead, David.
And we have to mention Steve Strauss, who wasn't able to join us, Barry Maltz, who is also a judge, wasn't able to join us tonight, and Anita Campbell, all of whom are incredibly great contributors to the B2SMBI Influencer Circle. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you being judges here and making all of this happen. And let's do it again next year, and let's do it live, please.
Yes.
Healthy. Let's do it live. All right, everybody.
Okay.
Love you all. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Safe.
Congratulations,
Thank you guys so
everyone.